Guys, did you know 2 out of 3 men experience hair loss by the time they're 35? Here's some advice. Do everything you can to keep your hair. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair you have, our sponsor, Keeps, has you covered. Keeps is a subscription service that delivers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. With Keeps, you'll get doctor-recommended treatment plans delivered straight to your door at about half the cost of a traditional pharmacy. And most Keeps customers notice results within 6 months of starting treatment. Each treatment plan comes with a full year of unlimited messaging so you can connect with your prescribing doctor anytime. Remember, hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer on Keeps treatment, go to keeps.com/Chael Sonnen or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/Chael Sonnen. Here's what's going on. Okay, let me back this up in case you've been under a rock. Kamaru Usman did an interview a week or so ago, and he just made a comment. He just set something down and went on about his day, but that thing that he set down ended up being this like a carpet bomb. And what he said was, I tried, I considered it, I tried, I even looked into going up to 205 pounds and challenging for the world championship. Now, that happened to be Jan Blachowicz, but this had nothing to do with Jan. This had everything to do with Usman wanted to be the champ. He didn't want anything to do with his countryman, Adesanya, so he was just going to skip Adesanya and go up to 205 pounds. Now, in a million years, Dana White's not saying okay to that. That's not getting the pin. That's not going to happen. And that wasn't what Kamaru even meant for it to be. He was just sharing something. He was just sharing from a competitive standpoint. He likes this champ business, and he wants to get as much hardware as he can, too. And he thought a way to do it that was realistic was to go up to 205 pounds. But it became an interesting story. And now you have Prochzka commenting on it. So here's my question to you guys. Real simple. Is this a win for Kamaru Usman that he's got Prochzka, who is the official #1 contender, will be challenging for a world championship, discussing him? That's my question. And of course it is. It doesn't have to be a grand slam. This could be a single. But it's still a win for Usman, isn't it? And when Prochzka responded to this, he was very polite, but he was very honest and sincere. I mean, he talked about the size. He talked about the weight. Said, listen, he's not just coming up from one division. He's coming 2 divisions. We've never seen this. Prochzka was great in his response. It was very honest. He was caught with his pants down. And I can't blame Yuri. Why the hell would Yuri be prepared going in an interview thinking he's going to have to talk about a 70-pounder? Right? So he just answered it really straightforward. He talked about the size. I would like to bring something to you guys. This is never going to happen. I got that. But we're not going to see Usman versus George St. Pierre either, and we discuss it all the time. We're not going to see Khabib versus Usman or George St. Pierre, but we discuss it all the time. So let's have a little bit of fun here. Because there is a couple of things I don't think you know about Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is not a 70-pounder. Just so you understand. He fights at 170. Kamaru Usman had dreams of being an Olympic wrestling champion. And he lived that life. He went to the hardest tournaments, took on the best competition, went to the most difficult and trying training camps. He was living that life. It's actually Rashad Evans grabbed a hold of him and said, hey, I got another way. Come stay on my couch. We got a different kind of workout we're going to do, but I see something here. I tell you his amateur wrestling story because he did that. I don't think you guys know this. He did that at 185 pounds. Very relevant. Usman, post-college, has to make a choice of where to go, where to compete. He's not going to get any money or any fame. This is 100% about intrinsic value. He's going to sacrifice everything. It's very important to know the mindset of a wrestler. When you wonder why Kamaru's so good, if you just study his fight career, you're going to miss it. He's real good at fighting because of what he did before fighting. And it's a mindset. It's a grind. You never hear him bitching about money. He came through wrestling. There was no money. You never hear him complaining about doing media and having to work hard. He came through wrestling. There is no media. It just doesn't work that way. It's a different mindset. It's a very pleasant mindset. But I need you to understand the mindset at least a little bit so that you understand how important it is to pick the right number. And he picked 185. Now, at the time Kamaru was coming through, his choices were 163 or 185. In fairness, 85, he wasn't the biggest. He wasn't small. He was not what you consider a big 85-pounder, but he had been too damn big to get to 163 pounds. So in fighting, when an opportunity opened up, they spot him 7 pounds, at least in wrestling terms. Boom, that's how he became a 70-pounder. And I only say that because you're not, I mean, if we're going to have this conversation, if we're just going to be silly, but we are going to debate this, I would just have to tell Prochzka, because I don't think he knows that, Kamaru Usman actually is not a 70-pounder. He's actually, in his own mind, an 85-pounder who's competing at 70. Now, what's that got to do with about 205 pounds? Probably very little, but it's still something different to the story that you didn't know. If there's anybody you want to study and copy in this sport, not just his skills, not just what he can do, the hard work and the sacrifice, you check all those boxes, right? But there's no champion out there that doesn't check those quintessential boxes. If there's anybody that you want to follow in the sport that has a business attached to it, it really is Usman. Usman has the same stand up for himself, the same pushback to the organization, the same desires, the same will, the same efforts that you hear from so many other people in terms of more, right? Like Conor McGregor told us all, one of the most truthful things the Irishman has ever said. You want to know what's better than a lot of money? More money. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's ready for that. Everybody wants everybody. You get it. But when Kamaru's doing those things privately, not in the media, not disparaging anybody or anything, not boring you guys to sleep, when he's doing those things, if his phone rings and they need something, he says yes. Kamaru holds up nobody. Kamaru does not threaten to take his ball and go home ever. He sticks up for himself. He says his piece, and he says yes. It's a very different approach, but it's an approach by the guy who was handed the reins to headline the top martial arts organization in the world's card at Madison Square Garden. There's a reason he gets those opportunities. And I'm just sharing with you, do your career how you want to do it, but generally, why reinvent the wheel? You guys ever watch Anthony Robbins? You guys would at least know the name. Tony Robbins, the big guy, huge white teeth, real positive guy. But you know that guy? He makes people feel better, gives them advice. You go study Robbins for 24 hours or 24 days or 24 minutes. All you needed was 24 seconds. The biggest part of his speech and his appeal and the message that he tries to get to people, find somebody who's doing or has done what you want to do and go copy them. And that's fantastic advice. You do not have to start from square one. You do not have to be an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs. You can just find somebody else who's done something that you aspire to do, study that person, and copy them. That's why I bring to you Kamaru Usman. But it's not just the punches, it's not the kicks, it's not the resetting, it's not just the competitive stuff. That's what you see. It's the things that you don't see that make him who he is. He's a very good person. But he's also fair when he's doing business with somebody. He is going to stand up for himself, and he's not going to slow you down. He does them both at the same time. They're simultaneous. That is what's unique. Everybody's put their foot down, and everybody said yes. He does them at the same time. He has an agenda while understanding he has an agreement. And there's rewards for that. And he won't be thanked. He won't ever be patted on the back. He won't ever be studied because he does it quietly. I'm the one telling you. I watch this from a distance. I know what he does and where he wants to be. And I also know that every time they have a welterweight title fight they want to book, they call him, he signs the contract. He deserves credit for that. 50% of me wants to make sure Usman gets the credit that he deserves. The other 50% wants you guys to observe it so you can copy him.